Good morning, and hey now, PSAW, staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Wednesday's class, a very special class today and tomorrow. This one will be a two-parter because we have a very special guest. And you know what? We're only halfway through the week, and it's been such a great week so far. Yesterday, we looked at the beautiful Dodger Stadium and how great that ballpark is. And the day before, we looked at Ben-Hur and looked at the assignment you're going to be submitting to me tonight by midnight, the famous chariot race scene. So pick some music that fits well and send it to me, and we'll see the results on Friday. All right, having said that, let's get right to work. As I said, it's a very extra special day. We're going to be talking about a very famous film composer that passed away a few weeks ago, but it's not a sad story, so it's not. So we're in luck. Usually it's a sad story. He had a very long and happy, great life. So that's good. And today we'll be talking about the film composer Ennio Morricone. Ennio Morricone is one of the most famous composers of the 20th century, particularly in film. Born in 1928, and we'll get into his life and his music and today. And so, but in preparation, we need to get ready for our interview tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will be interviewing my brother. He is going to be our special guest. I asked my brother, and he said yes, because he is a real expert on the music of Ennio Morricone. And I thought, to switch things up, it would be nice to get a fresh face in here. And he's terrific. So we are going to learn about Ennio's music today, and then if it's okay, we're going to tomorrow. We'll do a quick recap, and then we'll talk to my brother Sebastian and get his thoughts on the composer. So again, it's going to be a really fun week. So let's dive into Ennio Morricone's life and music. So Ennio Morricone was born in 1928 in Rome, Italy, and he lived in Rome most of his life, probably all of his life. Even though he was a Hollywood film composer later on, he never moved to Hollywood. I think he took great pride in that. He didn't really speak English. He mostly just spoke Italian and would use a translator when he would be talking to American directors, but that's a little bit later. So his dad teaches him how to read and write music, and he starts playing the trumpet at a really early age, and writes his first composition at 6 years old. So he's very precocious. So when he's 12, he enters a 4-year program at the conservatory where they teach him harmony and music theory, but he completes that within 6 months. So you can tell he's already a prodigy right now. But he gets his diploma in trumpet. And having the classical education and orchestration background, he starts becoming an arranger at RCA and starts being a kind of a studio arranger / composer for acts like Paul Anka and other very famous pop artists. So although he has this classical background, he really he's not staying in that world. He's well, first of all, it's hard to make a living in that world, and it's easier orchestrating pop music and bossa nova and stuff that was really popular in the 50s, 60s. And we did our bossa nova class, so you guys know about that stuff already. So he becomes working and scoring a lot of small Italian films with beautiful music, and Sebastian will tell us more about that later. And then then he becomes a real international star when he hooks up with his childhood friend our schoolmate, Sergio Leone. Sergio Leone is a director that we've talked about. We scored that famous scene, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, just a few weeks ago. So you guys already know about him. See how much we're learning and connecting the dots? It's fun. Sergio knocks on his door for the first time and says, "Do you remember me?" And they kind of have a moment. And he says, "Can you help? Do you want to score my first movie?" And that first movie is A Fistful of Dollars, and that's 1964. And that really creates this whole new genre of this Western, spaghetti Western, if you will, genre of music. And you can hear how kind of influential, because it's still, we know that it's almost like Ennio invented the Western film score, like cowboy Western film score sound that is mimicked today, either mimicked or just blatantly copied, because it works so great. And if we listen to the score, it's really different. It's dissonant. There's odd instruments. There's a lot of piccolos. There's these big chords going on. There's whistling. I mean, that's kind of like a different way. And we'll talk about his harmony and his musical characteristics later. But already, just the instruments that he uses are very oddly cool. And that's probably, maybe a little bit has to do with his classical background, where he knew which tools to use, which colors to use, what paintbrush to use for certain things, for lack of a better metaphor. But he had this palette where he probably said, well, I'm going to take this from here, I'm going to use real gunfire sounds, real sounds in the music. That stuff was really revolutionary, and that set back then for the 60s. So once he teams up with Sergio Leone, I mean, he's pretty much set as this famous international composer, and he's written over 500 film scores and about 100, over 100 classical pieces. So I mean, his output is unbelievable, and we can't even touch on some of the music that he's done. Probably his most famous, well-known film scores are Cinema Paradiso and The Mission. So that's the gorgeous music of Ennio Morricone. A lot of memorable melodies that he's written the past 90 years. We're very lucky to have him, and I hope you enjoyed that. We are going to continue part 2 tomorrow, and we're going to be talking to my brother. So that'll be very exciting. So don't forget what you just saw. We're going to be continuing it tomorrow. Okay, have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.